Hi guys, and welcome back to my video blog. I'm Robbie from EnglishHarmony.com, and in this blog we talk about all things related to English fluency, improvement and associated issues. And in this particular episode we're going to look at a comment I received on my latest YouTube video, and I'm going to read it out now. So, when it comes to engaging in conversations with certain people that I know speak my native language, Spanish, this is written by the commentator on YouTube, right? It's not me. My native language isn't Spanish, it's Latvian, right? But anyway, going back to the comment. So basically, when he speaks with certain people that he knows speaks his native language, Spanish, and also speak perfectly fluent English, I have noticed that my fluency drops a little, sometimes big time. Why do you think that would be? I don't feel intimidated. Maybe it's the fact that I've spoken Spanish with them before. I was wondering if you could make a video on this topic. I'm really interested in your opinion on this matter. Take care. Thanks for posting this interesting comment. And there's another person, to be honest with you, commenting on the same issue. He chimed in saying, I have the same problem when I am speaking with a native English speaker, and I don't hesitate or pause or something, but when it comes to family members or friends who speak my native language, I can't even say, how are you? And then he says, perhaps it's normal. So, let me tell you this, it is normal. It's been happening with me before, and here's exactly what happened to me a couple of years ago. There's a Russian girl working in the same company where I work, and as you may know, if you've been following my blog for some time, I speak Russian as well. So basically Latvian is my native language, Russian is my second language, and English is my third language. I actually learned some German at school. I was quite good at it, but it's all gone by now. I hardly remember anything in German, right? But anyway, I speak in Russian, but at the time, for years, I didn't actually know that that particular person was of Russian origin. And I spoke to that particular person, to that girl, in English, because I live in an English-speaking country, and unless that person I'm talking to is Latvian, I speak with everyone in English. And considering that there aren't too many Latvians around, I get to speak in English with Polish people, with Romanians and other represented nationalities in the country. And obviously Irish, who are the indigenous people of Ireland, right? But anyway, I didn't know that that girl was Russian, so I was talking to her in English. But I kind of sensed that she has an accent, but her accent wasn't that big, you know. She'd been living in Ireland for a long time, ever since she was in her early teens, right? And then one fine day I found out she was Russian, and all of a sudden my perception of her changed. I started talking to her in Russian, and to be honest with you, my Russian needed to be brushed up a little because I hadn't been speaking with a lot of people in Russian for quite some time, and I'm actually, even now when I talk to her, I hesitate a bit every now and then. I'm looking for the right word to be used in a sentence and so on and so forth. But the funny thing is, for some reason I just can't go back to speaking in English with her. And it's the very same issue that these people have described in their comments, right? So basically, once you know that that person speaks in your native language, or in my case, in Russian, which is almost like native language to me. It's not, but you see, I was living in the USSR, where Russian was like a second language to everyone. And there were so many people speaking both languages, their native language and Russian, at the same level. Basically bilingualism, that's what it was. And years ago, when I was still living in Latvia, I was speaking Russian like a native language, right? Almost like a native language. So now when I know that the girl speaks in Russian, all of a sudden it just kind of feels awkward speaking in English with her. And I haven't even tried, to be honest with you. Yes, sometimes when I'm looking for the right word in Russian, I might say what it sounds in English, but still, for some reason it just doesn't feel right to be talking to her in English. I know if there was a requirement whereby you would have to be speaking in English even with your native counterparts in a certain job, for instance, where you work behind a counter servicing people, and you wouldn't be able to use your native language, it would be a whole different story. My wife does that. She works in a shop behind a counter, and there's another Latvian girl, but they have to speak in English, but they just do it because it's a job requirement. They can't do otherwise. But in my case, once I know that that person speaks in Russian, all of a sudden I perceive that person as a Russian speaker, and it changes everything about the whole situation in my brain. And I would imagine the same thing happens to you guys. Once you know that that person is a Spanish speaker and you're a Spanish speaker yourself, all of a sudden when you try and speak in English with them, it feels unnatural, it feels awkward, and then you start speaking slower, making mistakes and whatnot. But it's all a mental thing, and you're dead right, you're 100% correct in saying that it's because you know that those people speak in Spanish. It's all because of that. And obviously there are many other factors probably coming into play. Maybe you've experienced some condescending attitude towards yourself by some native counterparts of yours at some stage in the past. Maybe you're not actually consciously aware of that, but maybe it has happened and it's left kind of a mental imprint into your brain. You may want to check out this article where I've focused upon these issues, when those who judge you the harshest are actually your native counterparts, not native English speakers, right? So maybe that factor comes into play as well, but mainly I believe it's because your brain perceives those speakers as Spanish speakers or whatever other language you may be speaking for that matter, right? And that's why it feels awkward speaking in English with them. I think you nailed it by saying that that might be the reason, and I wholeheartedly agree. I strongly believe, and it's backed up by my own experience, I believe that it is that reason. Okay? Hope this clarifies the whole issue, and thanks for commenting, thanks for asking questions, and if you have any further questions, obviously, don't hesitate to post them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, my friends, and talk to you soon again.